Okay, this is how to do Dire Tulpa with Double Burst Skirk. My Skirk team is highly invested. Both Skirk and Escoffier are C6, Farina is C4, and Shenhe is C1. But this can be done with any level of investment. Skirk all the way on to a full C0 team. I can clear a lot faster than 45 seconds, but I'm showing you the mechanics here, and I'm doing a very simple rotation for you to try it yourself if you want to. So the important part with your team is that you need enough ER to get everyone's burst in about 30 seconds. So I put Farina on R5 Favonius, and you can also use Mona instead of Shenhe. Mona is actually faster for C2 and above Skirk. I haven't tested below C2 since I don't have an alt account with C0 or a friend's account I can use, but for C2 and above, Mona is actually quite a bit faster. So keep those things in mind. Let's watch first, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. Okay, just like that. So, obviously, I think you all know Tulpa gives your burst and your skill cooldown back to all your characters. I have found in a lot of testing that it's usually between 114 and 120, sometimes, as long as 114 before it does it, sometimes as soon as about 119, 120. Most of the time, Tulpa is very consistent. About 118 is when it gives your burst and your skill back. 118. So what that means for us is that 127 or 128 is when your burst and your team needs to be up for you to do the normal rotation. That'll set you up perfectly so Skirk can do a burst. Tulpa gives her burst back and she does a second burst immediately. 127 or 128. So right away, I'm starting off with Skirk. C2 and above Skirks can do this. Just for this demonstration, C2 and above Skirk can do this. You can hold skill, charge your burst, and go into a hybrid playstyle right after. If you don't have C2, start with Farina. So you're going to start with Skirk as C2 and above, hold skill, charge burst, go to Farina, get the Fab proc, collect the energy in Farina, use Shenhe, battery, a scoff, and then collect the particles with a scoff on her skill as well. So C2 and above will do this. C1 you won't. You'll just start with Farina. Once a scoff catches those particles, you're going to do Skirk's burst. If you have a burst into NA, that's her hybrid playstyle. If you have a C1 Skirk or below, you can either do an NA or you can do a burst. It's up to you. So I do burst into NA. I usually do an N2D combo for this. I'm doing N5D and I'm slowing it down so I don't overkill Tulpa with one burst at the end. Alright, so what do you do here? After this, it's about 136 when Skirk finishes that NA combo. We have about 7 or 8 seconds of downtime. So all you need to do, I switch back to Farina so I can get the Fab proc, make sure everyone's burst is up. So this 7 seconds of downtime, I chose to do nothing. I'm just attacking Tulpa for no reason, for whatever, just to show you that we are really just waiting for that 127 mark. There are some things you can do, and I'll talk about that at the end, efficiencies, but here, 127, now we do EQ Farina, EQ Escaf, EQ Shenhe, and then hold E to burst Skirk. Her burst is back again, and we finish off Tulpa just like that. So, what if your Skirk can't finish Tulpa, right, in 2 bursts? C2 and below, I believe, and with a less invested Farina and Escaf, can't do that. So even after 2 bursts, you won't be able to finish it off. But let's just watch. So even after the second burst, right, her skill is off cooldown. So let's say Tulpa still has, X amount of HP left. immediately go into Skirk E and do her NA playstyle, use her enhanced normal attacks, and just chip away HP until it finishes. Even after that enhanced E, the second E there, and you can't finish off Tulpa, everyone's skill and burst is off cooldown. Go right back into a rotation. Freyna EQ, Scoff EQ, Shenhe EQ, right back to Skirk, and you have a second rotation right there, right off cooldown immediately. Hopefully that's enough to kill Tulpa, and if it's not, I think you have enough time to do one more full rotation, so that should be able to help you a lot. This double burst with everyone's buff up on Skirk is actually really effective at saving you a ton of time, so try that. Those efficiencies that talked about here during the downtime, that 136 or 137 mark, after Skirk finishes right there, her initial NA hybrid playstyle, you can do things like doing Shenhe and Scoff's E. I would hold off and Escoffia's E until about 130, because her E does have a cooldown and it doesn't last forever. So 130 we should be able to give the full buff to Skirk, the Cry Res Shred, in time for Skirk's double burst. So instead of doing nothing, yeah, you could just do an Escoff E first, and then at that 127 switch back to Freyna, or 126 actually. You can actually do it a bit later because you're not using Escoffia's E, you're just using her burst since you already did her E previously. So just a couple little efficiencies during the downtime if you want to do them. You can play around with that. You don't have to do anything. The important part is that everyone's burst and skill is ready, and you can do the normal rotation at about 127, 128. This isn't the fastest way to do Tulpa. If you want to do double bursts, the fastest way is at the beginning to not even, to start with a Scoff actually, and not do Skirk's burst to her hybrid playstyle, her burst into normal attack. It's actually to do a Scoff E, Freyna Freyna E with the Fab proc, Shenhe, and then Skirk burst, and then right back to Freyna. It's kind of weird, takes a lot of practice, and I'm not going to talk about it here because it's really for speedrunners, and if you really want to min-max. If you do want to see a video on it, I can show you. I have it recorded. But otherwise, yeah, this is basically the mechanic. You're just waiting for 127, and then you're going to do everyone's normal rotation. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks.